I would highly recommend him. He's kind of a no BS guy.
The systems we put in place with him, we're looking at doing 400 transactions this year.
To systematically increase your net worth is something that we never talk about. So are you at least a big part of the problem? And I forget who I was sharing with when I was preparing this section especially, or this session, so much of this rings true with me. And at various stages, we're going to go through, you're going to take an assessment, and it's about just taking a real look at where you're at. So don't come out of it thinking like I am totally effed, because I'm myopic or I'm disassociative or, all these technical terms that you can give. And it's not a diagnosis that you're going to die from. It's just it's some shadows that exist, and there may be 2 or 3 that you can identify with, and the assessment sort of ring true with you. And it's about you working on one thing at a time, and it's a process. All right, so tough pill to swallow. So your business is an expression of you, of what you care about and what you don't care enough about, your values, your courage and fears, your experiences. This can be hard to accept, but it's very exciting and it's a huge responsibility. Every choice you make has a bigger impact than anyone else's in your business. And that's the one thing I think, we've all been in the world where we come back from an event, and without the groundwork that we're doing today, we come back from an event and we've got 3 or 4 new things that we're going to do in our business. I think Christy and I had a conversation about this at one point. Our team was just fearful of us coming back from any event because, oh no, this is the better thing to do this time. And this gets away from all that, and it really puts the focus inward, because there is no great thing out there, I promise you guys. And if there is, we'll get someone to prove it before we waste our money and time on it. So it's a huge responsibility, every choice you make. Talk about that. Your team has agreed to work for you and take your lead, and so they constantly look to you for direction, guidance, and approval. So you have to shine the light. And they're looking to, and not in a bad way. Most everyone is looking to be led, and not in a oh, I'm just going to follow you off the cliff kind of way, but in a good. We have the opportunity to really craft this thing in a way where there's just an awesome opportunity being involved with your team and your leadership. And it's just don't underestimate the power of it. So if you're disorganized, it's probably your business is going to be disorganized. If you're afraid to let go, your team will avoid taking responsibility. If you're an idea generator, or we like to call it squirrel chaser, then your team might be cynical about change. And they might come back and be oh, here we go again. The next latest and greatest thing. So to simplify your business and ground it in this stuff is good. So I covered the concept of shadow and light. So there's nothing bad in what we're going to do, and there's hope, right? Without looking inward, there's a little chance that you're going to be able to break through. So there's a couple things. There's complexity. Just business is difficult, and there's so many moving parts, and put on top of it just different situations and unique individuals. To start a business from nothing and to grow it into something big, it has to be the biggest challenge that there is because of all these different moving parts and things that are completely out of your control. I've been through just this past week, with one of my team members who's been with us for years, thinking that it's all exciting, the changes that we're doing, and she's as anti-change as you can be. And so when I go through some of this stuff, I should know better than to sit down with some people, even though I'm sort of a little bit out of that business, to sit down with some people, and there's not dysfunction a little bit, because she's sort of more senior, Cherie is newer and taking on a leadership role, and just these things are meaningful, and I can't just kind of bury so disassociation, when we go through it, has come up for me. So it's just, but it's the most awesome challenge, right? So less than 0.1% of the population is on the path that we're on, and which makes it so cool. Love it. See the power to transform your business by being aware of your predominant theme. So we're going to get into, they call it dysfunctional business themes. They've renamed this 3 times. It has a different name currently. But it's sort of a negative. You'll go through this exercise. Dysfunctional business theme doesn't sound very exciting, right? So it implies that you're dysfunctional, out of the gate. You take this thing and you have one of 9 dysfunctions. So I have 4 currently, and I've been through all 9, I think. So just, it's not going to look pretty, but it all starts with the awareness. So you can grow, develop, and change in the most productive ways. The DBTs, we'll call them dysfunctional business themes, focus on the shadow side of leadership. Your weaknesses, distorted beliefs and assumptions, and ineffective patterns. And it's simply putting a light on the shadow. So it's not that you can't change, because everyone can change. Fundamentally, even like deeply ingrained things that you think are hard to change can be changed. And just having an awareness of it. You'll make more room for your strengths to come through. This is the essence of leadership development.